Okay guys, let's quickly go through the patch notes again. I will create more content and I plan to create a lot of content for elsewhere, so make sure to hit that juicy sub button. Now keep in mind this is Roughtone DLC and this is still PTS. So it's not on live yet, changes still might happen, very important. We have Frostwald, okay. Probably the most difficult dungeons so far. But whatever, there will probably be more bug fixes. Mundustone Shadow, increase the critical hit damage bonus to 13% from 9%. Note that this will not affect critical healing. So with Divine, it's like Warfire told me, 19.8 and it rounds down, so it will be something like 19 unless you can combine it with champion points. Critical hit damage and round it up, kinda, it will be weird. But it might actually be worth it now. Might be a very viable choice. Compared to before, where it was useless. Spiked armor, sure, fix an issue. Storm Atronach, sure. Zuchik. Increase the base cost of this ability by 8,000. Cost of this ability to 8,100 from 4,600. Yeah, it's actually nice. Keep in mind that this is before the passive cost reduction from the skill line. Or before it ranks up. Okay. This makes sense because this ability is so much cancer, so it's really nice that they're increasing the cost so people cannot simply spam it that easily anymore. You can still tune down the cost a lot, but that's a huge cost increase. Now you actually have to use your brain and not just spam it, most likely. Racial passives. Okay, that's where it gets juicy, yeah. High Elf. Spell Recharge. The return for this passive will now restore your lowest maximum resources rather than your highest. We also increase the value to 641 from 525. So I must say, first of all, already seen most of them. I highly dislike most of the changes made. I actually prefer the racial changes from the week 1 PTS. Some of those here just don't make sense. I mean, it can make sense in terms of PvP, but PvE wise, like, it feels to me like the changes were just made with PvP in mind and PvE just got gutted. Like, why would I need stamina in PvE? So I'm just gonna have 2k max magicka, 258 spell damage. That's it. There's nothing else useful as a high elf in PvE. I don't need that stun thing. Like, why? In PvP can make sense, okay, it can be useful. I do not disagree. But that's just... that's weird, okay? Very, very bad. The main focus of high elves are the ability to deal high amounts of damage or healing with magicka based abilities, and this sustain passive was helping them stand ahead of too many other races that also deal heavily with magicka based abilities. We have shifted this over to utility passive and slightly increase. I know this sounds like it makes sense, but it doesn't. We will get to that in a sec. Argonian, Life Mender, healing down to 6. Okay, sure. Why they... okay, increase the health, magic, and stamina restore to 4k from 3000. So they nerfed it and they buff it again now. Flat stats to scale better with champion points. We wanted to improve some of the bonuses of Argonian so they could keep up. We targeted their healing down bonus to help make it feel more impactful. For their identity as strong healers and the resource passive to help highlight their ability to stay in the fray. 3.6k was enough. I don't know why. I don't know. Yeah, I guess it's fine. Not like a game breaking thing. Wood Elf. Reduce the movement speed bonus granted to 10%. Okay, that makes sense. But added a bonus to physical and spell penetration of 1500 for the duration. We heard your concerns of adding in highly powerful movement speed bonus tied to roll dodging, as well as the performance of this passive in PvE versus PvP. We want the players who are focused on damage to get a small boost out of this in situations where they dodge attacks, without adding more passive power to the race. Again, can make sense to PvP, doesn't make any fucking sense for PvE. And still, 3 seconds, it's very slow. Movement speed, for 3 seconds, not bad. Orcs have that already built in 100% technically. It's not exactly the same thing, but... The spell resistance granted by this effect will now be doubled if you're afflicted with burning, chilled, or concussed. Yeah. It was like 2k, so we have now 4k. Something like that. While Bretons had been brought up to speed with our other races with our first round of changes, we still felt the story or unique element to be missing. We added a small contextual flavor bonus on their spell attunement passive to help highlight their ability to shrug off magical attacks. Yeah, that's definitely something cool. Gonna be very tanky against magical setups, because burning, chill, concuss is always something affecting your character. In PvP, that is, okay? PvE, useless. Dark Elf. Increase the max magic and stamina granted to 1875. Okay. Remove the health passive. Okay. So this is actually, you lose something, but you gain something. Okay. Makes sense. Imperial. Rework this passive so when you deal direct damage now, you restore 3 health, magic and stamina. It will also reduce the cost of block and bash by 5. I guess okay. Still not really good. Like, you get 2k health, 2k stamina, it's not super bad, but don't see a reason why I should run an Imperial. Khajiit, increase the max health, magic and stamina bonus to 825. Decrease the reduction of your stealth radius to 3 meters. Okay. People could sneak up on bosses and like in front of them and they didn't see it. Increase the magic and stamina recovery bonus to 8.5. Okay, whatever. Now here is where it gets. So Orc is probably the most overpowered race if they leave it like this. The amount of stats this race gets, it is beyond me who makes those balance changes. I know who makes them, but I don't know how they make the calculations. This passive now grants 2k max stam. Instead of 500 health, 500 stamina. This passive now grants 1k max health and heals you for up to 600 when you deal damage, 4-second cooldown. Previously granted 4, yeah, okay. Like on an Orc, you get 2k max stam, 1k max health, 258 weapon damage, some small healing, speed cost reduction, and faster sprinting. Like, where does it stop? Orc. Crazy. High Elf. 2k Magicka, 258 spell damage. Sounds balanced to me, right? I mean, if you still say Orc is not strong enough, you're just biased as hell. That point. Like, end of discussion. Redguard. Added a bonus that reduces the effectiveness of snares applied to you by up to 15%. Okay, sure, whatever. Updated the calculation with your maximum health, magic and stamina interacting with modifiers to better reflect the 20% increase. Increase stats from your first 100 points spent in each tree of the CP system. Previously, this 20% only applied to your base stats, attributes, enchantments, and 2 through 4 piece bonus on item sets. After this change, all sources of flat stat increases will be affected: consumable, food, and drinks. 5 piece bonus from item sets and passes will now be probably affected by the 20% increase. So this will mean we will overall have a lot of extra resources. And that's why I say shit like this will be even stronger. Now I say it again, when you... Do I still have the thing open? Let's go here. High Elf. Put it in the grave. PvP, okay. The stem might be nice, I don't know, still. I like the other one more. Argonian, I can say okay, whatever. Wood Elf. You get 258 stamina recovery, 2k stem. You get the 10% movement speed, you get the detection, and the penetration. I say, okay, not bad. Not bad. Then we have Breton. A lot of sustain stuff and resistance. So Breton, also good. Very nice. Dark Elf. You get 258 weapon and spell damage, 1875 magic and stamina. They kind of want it to be a hybrid race, something like that. Sure. Other than that, it doesn't really look good. Like, it will function as a hybrid race, but it is not really best in anything anymore. Imperial. You get a lot of max health, max stam. Then again, you restore health, magic and stamina, so you get something a little bit sustain. And the cost of block and bash reduction is also not bad, but it's not something I'm like, okay, I want to be Imperial because of this passive. That's not here. Khajiit. One of the strongest. Now, you have to see what's probably gonna happen if they leave it as it is. With 8% spell and weapon crit, most people are probably gonna choose to play a Khajiit, because you can play magic and stamina with it in PvE. And because they have health, like they have 825 extra health, magic and stamina, you can run gold food, and you will have better sustain than a red guard. So people are like, well, red guard has to sustain. Well, yes, but Khajiit has more damage and more sustain, so it's like, what's the point? Fuchu, thanks for the resub. 10 months. Nice. Now keep in mind, those are just assumptions. I haven't tested anything on the PTS yet. I have to ask the other guys as well. But yeah. Nord still looks juicy. Will be a very nice PvP option for like a medium armor build because of physical and spell resistance. And will also be a very nice tanking race because you get max stam, you get max health, and you get the ultimate gain, okay? Very nice. The ulti chance, it's not a lot, but it is something nice to have. Orc. Now here is, I don't know how Sauce made this calculation, but doesn't make sense. If Orc is gonna stay like this, you will see a lot of Orcs run around in PvP and PvE. Orc will be the superior PvE stem race if it stays like that. 2k stem, 258 weapon damage. You get 1k health. Yeah, I'm just gonna run gold food. Like, what else do you want?
What the hell?
This shit is broken. Then you have red guard. Cut off the head, throw it away, delete the character. No, not exactly, but
Too strong.
you have the weapon cost ability reduction, which is nice, especially for PvP. Can actually be decent, right? 2k max stem, also nice, and then adrenaline rush. Now, the problem with red guard, a lot of things don't scale. Adrenaline rush doesn't scale. It will always be 950. Cost reduction doesn't scale. Orc. 258 weapon damage, scales. Health, scales. Stamina, scales. So again, I like the PTS week 1 racial changes a lot more. Those here, there's so much mistakes in it. Doesn't make any sense. And we will overall have more stats. Okay? So if you have sustainage, it's just gonna run gold food and you will have better sustain than on a red guard. But that's also a food buff issue, because the gold food is way superior compared to blue food. Because there is no gold 2-stat food, right? To kinda even it out. That's the problem. The food system is completely fucked. But we will see. I mean, in the end, I'm just gonna roll what is most efficient. So if I have to choose Orc, I'm gonna run Orc. I don't care. But I have like fucking 10 red guards. The Shadow Mundus change, yes. Again, keep in mind, this is PTS, it could change. Deadly Strike fixed an issue where the weapons were coming from. Oh, yeah, okay, sure. Item sets, those are just bug fixes. Khajiit, update this item set. So when you use a direct healing ability on a target, remove 3 negative effects from them. So it does it still work on yourself or not? Oh, we had a lot of subs. Apologies. Fuchu with a 10 months resub. Arrow Rain with a 21 months. Thank you very much. Furby with a prime sub. We have Spheres with a 9 months reset. And Koi Art with the cheers. Thank you very much. Dual wield, I think the enchants will stay like they are. Okay, if a negative effect was removed this way, you will restore a magic. It's still a strong set, but I'm not sure, does it... When you use a direct healing ability on a target, that means it doesn't work on yourself. Right? Yeah, I know, Arrow. I was thinking the same, because now it should show the total, right? Icy Conjurer. This set now deals its damage over 8 seconds. God bless. It's still gonna be... It's a slow-moving thing. It's still gonna be strong. Steadfast fix, Symphony fix, Warband. This set now generates a stack whenever you deal any critical damage, rather than only critical light or heavy attack. Okay, that's nice. Togwin's Warband is actually really strong. We discussed that in Hodor a little bit. So, obviously if you're a target dummy humper master, advancing your Kida will always be better, right? But if you're fighting bosses, you will never get the 100% -4 uptime. So Togwin's Warband could actually become a decent alternative, in my opinion. Maybe even better, because if you only have like 80% -4 uptime, or with Togwin's Warband you can go 100. Might be better, even though it gives you less crit. Most people will just probably still just run advancing your Kid. I'm not saying it is better, but it might be something to keep in mind. So, whatever. Yeah. Those racial changes, they were good first week. I mean, there were a few things that were not super good, but at least they made more sense than those here now. I'm not sure if they go... Usually they don't change stuff anymore after the 3rd week. It's gonna be tough. I'm not saying they need to nerf Orc, but at least bring the other races on par. And also, a lot of things, like High Elf. For PvE, you will have the spell damage and the max stamina. That's it. Who the fuck needs stamina on a Magicka DD? Nobody. It's useless. So you can throw this dude in the bin. Everyone's gonna play Magicka Khajiit DD anyway, because lore-wise it makes the most sense, right? Red guards, I'm not feeling it, okay? It's not enough. Now the problem is, well, the problem. Sustain overall is too easy in the game, so if they nerf sustain again, maybe Red Guard will become a lot better and stuff like that, right? We will see. It's tricky. But for now, I'm not... Yeah, PvE, PvP, if you're stamina, you're gonna roll an Orc. PvE, you're gonna roll a Khajiit. Because Magicka or stamina, doesn't matter. Everything else, like... Okay, you could run a Breton too if you want to sustain, but do you really need it? I don't know, it feels... It feels weird, guys. I really would like to know how they make the calculations. Bro, just roll bottom and roll the... And it also feels like a lot of those changes made in week 3 are just focused on PvP, and PvE has completely been forgotten. Like... Orcs are not as good as Nords for that. Yeah, I'm talking damage dealer. You will get free race change tokens for free, so you should be covered. But again, things can change, okay? People need to do tests first. We have to see. So don't change anything before this goes live. You change buff food? No, I'm just saying the problem with buff food is... the buff foods are very imbalanced. Because the gold food is way superior to blue food in terms of stats. Like, you get stamina recovery, max stem, max health and health recovery. On a blue food, you get max health and max stem. Why is there no gold food that gives you max health and max stem? Why is there purple food that also gives you like max stem, max health, stamina recovery? It's just kind of fucked up there. Like, there's so much things missing. And then if you're a member of the Green Pact, you can only use drinks because you're not allowed to eat meat. And there is only meat dishes as like health, like max stats foods. That's what role players told me. So, Sauce, you need to fucking change it, otherwise you're gonna lose people here. You're gonna run away. No, I'm kidding, but you see. It's just, you need to get this shit straight. Anyway, let me not push this video any further, I'm blabbling. Please guys, make sure to hit the juicy sub button. I will do more testing, more videos, and I'm already preparing for elsewhere. We are hard in preparation. Check out my website, it's in the link, it's in the description. The link is in the